Whose side are you on in this war?
Barack Obama obviously is a murderer of Muslims, so how can I be with him?
If a young British Muslim were to seek your counsel and said he was considering to join the fight with the Islamic State, to go over to Syria, Iraq, would you try and talk him out of it, or would you encourage him to go?
Why shouldn't Muslims travel wherever they are in the world to stand with their brethren?
It's what the Islamic State is doing to the Yazidis and Arab Christians. Do you support that?
They're inviting them to Islam, and if they don't embrace Islam, they can live under the Sharia. Whether the Barack Obamas and the Camerons like it or not, it's coming to a place near you.
Do you support violence to achieve the goal of a worldwide ummah?
The Khilafah, or the Islamic State, will remove the obstacles in the way of implementing the Sharia outside of its own frontiers. So I believe that there are certain ways in which the government would be removed.
Recent revelations about the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs in Rotherham. Were those rapes un-Islamic?
You know, when you reduce human beings to, inhumane, sex objects, then of course they will be
Mr. Choudary, you're
exploited.
saying this. What about the admonition to Muslim men that if their women are not obedient, that they may beat them with a miswak or another stick?
We try to avoid violence as much as possible.
Is there any Muslim country in the world that would let you criticize their government the way the Christian Western governments treat you?
Under an apartheid system, we are the ones who are having our passports taken and be made citizenless.
Do you think the Queen should wear
I would never say
a
that.
niqab?
No, I would say to her to embrace Islam and to save herself and her children from the hellfire.
That was Muslim Imam Anjem Choudary of the United Kingdom. We had him on our show earlier this month. This morning, he was arrested on suspicion of being a member of or supporting a banned terrorist organization. Early this morning, Choudary tweeted, "Fact, the Islamic State could not wish for a better rallying call for Muslims worldwide to join them than for the USA to start bombing again." Sun News contributor Tarek Fata joins us with more. It was an interesting conversation we had with Choudary a couple weeks ago. He didn't come right out and say, "Go terrorists," but he came right up to the line.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And he was a player once.
Yeah, wasn't he, though?
At that time, he was Andy. He wasn't Anjem. So it all depends what part of life you are in. Once your hairs start graying, party animals turn very Islamic. There's a very common streak of that in Pakistan.
Now, what he said on the show, I found it politically troubling. I found it disloyal. But I don't believe that merely saying I support terrorists should be a criminal act, because that goes, in my opinion, too far to mere speech. But where do you think the line should be drawn between just saying words, "I like the cut of that terrorist group," to "I want to help them, I want to promote them, I want to recruit for them"? One of my very first questions was, if someone came to you, Anjem Choudary, saying, "I want to go to Syria to fight with the Islamic State," would you talk him out of it? And he said, "Oh, I'm not going to get into that hypothetical." Where do you think the line ought to be drawn?
Look, more than that, I'm concerned that Scotland Yard is using the arrest of him and his 9 friends to send a signal that we are acting tough. It is for Prime Minister Cameron, just before the debate in Parliament, to send a signal to his own caucus and the Labour Party and the many independents over there that they are tough, because they have faced criticism from some segments within his party that Britain has literally opened its doors to anyone who can mock quote-unquote British values. I don't think that the Anjem Choudharys of this world are the real problem. These are the jokers, the clowns in a circus that we pay, and they keep us entertained. The real problem that Britain faces, or Canada faces, is from that segment that has now come up with that hashtag, "not in my name," wearing the Union Jack as the hijab. All these Muslim women that Barack Obama was claiming was a great sign. No, it is those folks who are very well protected under mainstream Muslim organizations in Britain, in Canada, who do support every aspect of Islamic jihad, the doctrine of armed jihad, the doctrine of Sharia, and the second-class status of women in Islam. Now, instead of going after that segment, which is at the root of creating ISIS, or whatever you call it, you can call them the Lone Rangers, it doesn't matter. Their objective is the creation of an international Islamic order under which all humanity lives under one government.
I asked Anjem Choudary what steps he would agree to bring Sharia law, because he said he wants Sharia law for the whole world. He says he wants the Queen to convert to Islam. Okay, you can want things. I want a lot of things, but what are you willing to do about it? Do we have that clip, Hannah, when I asked him what would he do to bring Sharia law? Here's what he said. Tarek, take a look.
Either the people will embrace Islam and they will implement the Sharia, or a section of the community will, like the army or the people in charge. There will be a military or an ideological coup, or there could be a conflict like happened in Bosnia and other places. The Muslims could end up in a position of authority. Or lastly, which is the most likely scenario, is that the Khilafah or the Islamic State will remove the obstacles in the way of implementing the Sharia outside of its own frontiers.
So he was using coded language. He said either there'll be a coup from the police, that's just crazy, but it happens in some other Middle Eastern countries, or there would be a race, or a war, like I think he mentioned Bosnia,
yes.
or the Islamic State would remove the barriers. I think that's code for just kill everyone.
Or Prince Charles could convert to Islam. Right. He already almost has. He's been seen dancing with the royalty of Saudi Arabia in Saudi clothes. Again, this is all a sideshow. Ezra, these are the folks who keep us entertained and distracted. The real enemy is the one that you will never see asking for a jihad. Today we are bombing northern Syria, and the Syrian Kurds are saying that the ISIS artillery pieces have been left intact. You think the Saudis will bomb their own people? Who are we? We are being fooled. United Arab Emirates and ISIS and Saudi Arabia created ISIS, created these monsters. And I am to believe, because Barack Obama says so, that we have a broad coalition. I would have believed they had a broad coalition if Iran was at the table. If you said to Assad, how do we deal with this? What is the program? We will destroy ISIS. Will you implement democracy in your country?
Wow, well, they would never do that.
No, he could do that.
I'm sorry we're out of time. I always enjoy our conversations. I look forward to having you back soon. It's a very complicated matter. I love you because you're for liberty. Thank you for being here, my friend. More Source still ahead.